Hi guys, it's Anna. So today I'm going to make my banana bread for you and teach you my recipe. It's completely dairy-free and gluten-free and it's really healthy. I have a huge sweet tooth, but this is a really healthy version and I have reduced the sugar in this slowly over time, so it's even healthier than it was. I really love this recipe and I make it all the time, super easy. So I just wanted to share it with you guys and I hope that you guys love it too. Let me just get you set up. Okay, so I have my computer right here with my recipe and then I have all of my ingredients out. So I'm just going to explain to you how I'm going to make it and then I will take you through step by step. So my ingredients start with bananas. I just got some organic bananas this morning. I just ran out and grabbed them because I needed them. And then almond flour from Costco. And then you need baking soda, a little bit of salt, ground cinnamon, organic cane sugar, almond milk, some vanilla, coconut oil from Costco, that's why it's so big, some pecans and walnuts. And the last step is eggs. If you want to make this vegan, you can just substitute applesauce for eggs, but I just haven't experimented with that yet, but I want to. But if you do eat that way, then I'm sure you'd be able to substitute it really easily. Okay, step one is very easy. Just preheat your oven to 325 and make sure that your oven rack is in the middle. So the second from the bottom, third down. And then if you don't have ripe bananas, which I don't today, this is my first secret, is that you bake your bananas. So I only recently started doing this and it actually changed my recipe so much. I actually have found that baking them is way better because it makes them way sweeter, and it made me able to cut the sugar in half in my recipe, so it's just healthier because the bananas get sweeter the more they ripen. So this is a perfect way to avoid having bananas sitting around or waiting for them to be perfect, and you can just make the banana bread whenever you want. You can just go buy bananas like I did this morning and they're gonna be ready in like 15 minutes. I just got a cookie tray and I put down tin foil so it will stay clean, and you just put out 4 bananas and then I'm just gonna put them in the oven right away. So I just preheated the oven to 325. I put the bananas on a cookie sheet and I just put them in the oven right away. I'm not even gonna wait for the oven to heat up because they can just start warming up, and it normally takes about 15 minutes, but you can just keep them in there until they look right. They're gonna get black on the outside and look kind of weird, but the inside's gonna be super gooey and it's gonna make it super sweet, so it's going to make it perfect for the banana bread. So then while that's going, I'm gonna start making the bread. So get a loaf pan, I have this one, and you're just going to put coconut oil in it. I'm going to take a clean paper towel and just rub it around the pan, just enough to coat it. And then, so this is a new bag of almond flour that I just got. I only recently started using almond flour, and so this is the second bag that I've gotten. But I didn't realize that on the back it says that once it's opened to store it in the fridge, and I didn't even know that because you don't have to do that with other flours. So just a little tip, and I just sprinkle a little bit of the flour in the pan. So this will keep the bread from sticking when you cook the bread, and it'll make it way easier to get it out, and it will make sure the bottom doesn't burn. And then I actually measured it pretty good, so I don't have any excess. Normally I do, and if you do, you just tap it out over the garbage or over the sink so there's no clumps. So I set the pan aside to wait, and I got my big mixing bowl, and then I have my measuring cups and my measuring spoons. So in the large bowl, you're going to put 2 cups of the flour. So use a tablespoon, and with flour, you don't pack it in, you let it fluff in. Just fluff up your flour, that way you're not scooping clumped flour. So that looks about 1. And this is going to go in the fridge, now that I know. So then I need the baking soda, the cinnamon, and the salt. It's 1.5 teaspoons. It's baking soda, so I'm just gonna use the half 3 times. And this you do pack in, so I'm scooping it and then I'm pressing it against and kind of wiggling it. Can you see? Like that. Okay, so that's 1.5. And 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. And the cinnamon is really just personal preference. So if you wanted to, you could put more. So I just kind of do like heaping teaspoons of the cinnamon because it's not going to affect the way the bread bakes. And Koa and I both really like cinnamon, so why not? Okay, and that was the oven. It just is hit the preheat temperature, but I'm just gonna leave the bananas in there. And then for the salt, I don't like to use a ton of salt, and I have it like this right now. I don't have ground salt. 1/4 teaspoon is really not that much. So I have the empty cup. It's pretty good to me. I'm just gonna lightly mix this together. Don't mix this aggressively because it will go all over the place. So you just want the color to be nice and mixed, no chunks anywhere. And then set the bowl aside. Now we have our little bowl. We're gonna mix the egg, the oil, and the sugar in this one. I like to put the oil in first. So I just scoop it in because I always make sure that my cups are clean. And then just pour it in. Everyone thinks that you're supposed to crack an egg on a edge of a bowl. I used to think that too, but what happens when you do that is the egg shatters and the shell goes into the yolk. So it's actually better to crack it on a flat surface, just one really good crack. I'm gonna wash my hands really quick. So I have gotten this recipe down to 1/4 cup of sugar. It used to call for a cup. And you don't need that much, especially with bananas. Bananas are so sweet when they're ripe. So, and I want to get it down even more, actually. If I started using applesauce instead of an egg for the binder, I think that it will make it even sweeter. So I have wanted to switch that and I just haven't yet. So I'm just going to break the yolk and then blend it together. Then you bring your big bowl back and you're just going to I make a little kind of space in the middle of my dry mixture. Not so it shows the bottom, but just like a little hole. And then I pour the wet mixture into it. And this bowl I'm going to use to mix the mashed banana in it. So just put it to the side and don't wash it yet. With my tablespoon, I'm just going to mix together the 2 mixtures. So right now, this is what it looks like. I'm just gonna check the bananas really quick. They're definitely getting blacker, but I can still see quite a bit of yellow on the undersides of them, so I'm just gonna let them sit a little bit longer. I'm going to add the milk and vanilla while I wait for the bananas. So one time I thought, oh, more vanilla the better, right? But it made my bread really wet. So you have to be careful with the vanilla and the milk. You have to stick to the actual measurements because it will really change the texture of your bread and it will make it really wet and it will make it cook way longer. And then the top ended up getting kind of burnt because the middle wasn't cooking for me. So you can be a little lenient to taste with, say, like the cinnamon, but for the other stuff you want to be pretty on point with the measurements. So 1 teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to pour it over a different cup. And I still spilled, which is why I did not pour it over the bowl. Now my hands smell really good though. Okay, and then 2 tablespoons of almond milk. So for a second, I was worried that it wasn't 2 tablespoons of almond milk, but it is. But I just had to go back and check just to make sure. Because I'm worried because that one time I made it way too wet and the bread just turned out really weird. This is a brand new jug of milk, so I'm just gonna pour it over something else. just in case. Oh my god. 1. I'm just gonna mix this together really lightly. I don't want to overwork the batter before I put the banana in. And the bananas should be done. Let's see how the bananas look. Okay, so see, they're pretty dark. They look terrible, honestly. But the bottom's still kind of yellow, so I'm gonna flip them for just a few seconds. So I was wrong when I flipped this one. It was actually completely black. It was just that one little spot on the corners that were tricking me. So I'm going to go ahead and peel them and scoop out the insides and mash them up in a bowl and then add it to the mixture. Okay, so I just wanted to show you guys. So I scooped out this one already, and this is what it looks like, and it's completely gooey and kind of gross. But this is what they're supposed to look like. So it's all soft, and see, you can just scoop it right out. And that little piece I always break off. I don't put it into the mixture, but this is what they should look like. Okay, so I have all this banana and I'm just going to mash it up with a fork, and it's mashing super easily because they're warm and they are super ripe now and they smell so sweet. So another benefit to baking them like this is they're fully soft, because sometimes when your bananas are ripe and you mash them, they don't fully get blended and you get really chunky bananas, and it changes in the cake or in the bread. Before I thought, oh, it's fine, like they'll just blend out when it bakes, but no, you really want it mashed as much as possible because it's going to taste better and it's going to blend the flavor through the entire bread. So look at that. It takes it takes 1.5 cup of the mashed bananas, so I definitely have enough here, but I'm glad I made all 4 bananas. And this you do want to mash in. I'm not going to have as much left over as I had expected. And then scoop it into the bowl. And then my 1/2 cup disappeared. I had used it for the coconut oil and I forgot that you actually do need it again. So keep your stuff until you're fully done. Unless you use it on something like egg. And honestly, if I hadn't already used the 1/2 cup for the coconut oil, I wouldn't dirty it. I would just kind of eyeball it with filling 1/2 of the cup, measuring cup. Ooh. So all of this can go to the side. This is all dirty and done. So you have your mixture and your banana that you just tossed in. So just blend it together. Make sure you do this really, really thoroughly. Don't let any chunks stay dry. You gotta blend the banana in with all of it. Make sure you scoop the bottom so there's nothing stuck. Oh my god, it looks so good. I wanna like eat some of it. So then you add some of the nuts. So this is your discretion about the nuts. I like to mix a little bit of the nuts into the batter, but not a ton. I've experimented with this. I feel like you need a little bit inside and then slightly more than 1/2 on the top. But I don't pack in on the top because they end up just getting a little crunchy and they end up falling off when you cut the bread anyway because they can't possibly all hold on to the batter. 1/2 cup of each, but I just eyeball it. It's whatever you want. So just gonna put a little sprinkle. I like the pecans better too, so I favor the pecans on the inside and then I do the walnuts on top. So I just put a little sprinkling. I'm gonna throw a few walnuts in, but not really that many. I feel like walnuts can just sometimes have a slightly more bitter taste. Just quick little mix. I just like to have a few little surprise pieces in the bread. Grab your pan that's already ready and you're just going to scoop it in. I start from the middle and then I just kind of blend it out. Normally I would be using a spatula, but I just got these new bowls and they're really nice. They're not holding on to anything. And then just blend out to each corner and along the edges. It's so hot in here now. Oh my god, it's like 1,000 degrees outside in Hawaii, and it's December, and now I have the oven on. I don't know why, I always choose to cook in the middle of the day when it's hottest. And then you're going to add your nuts. This looks like it's gonna be so good. Just lightly touch. So it looks amazing. Look at that. It looks so good. I can't wait to eat this. The oven's already preheated, so I'm going to pop it in, and then this cooks in anywhere from 45 to 60 minutes. I don't have an exact time because I really just like to watch it really closely, and it does vary what kind of pan you use, and this oven is just a little bit funky, so I just keep a really close eye on it. But it's going to be done when it rises and when you put a cake tester or a toothpick into the middle and it comes out clean, so there's no gooiness. And also it's just kind of how you like it. You know, it's gonna be cooked after 45 minutes health-wise, so if you like it a little gooier or if you like it a little more done, I don't like it overdone. I like it just right, and I like it moist. I don't like to overcook it and dry it out, so just keep an eye on it. Extra little tip, the reason I put the tin foil on is because you can just fold it in. So. And then look, the cookie sheet's completely clean and I can just throw this away. So it's way easier to clean this up because otherwise it would be a mess. Okay, so my timer for 45 minutes just went off, so I'm going to check on it and see how it's looking. Ooh, it looks so good. So it looks good to me, so I pulled it out. It's not super thick, so I think 45 minutes is all it needs, and it is going to keep cooking for a few minutes longer while it just sits because it is still in that hot pan. So I'm just gonna leave it alone. I'm not gonna cut it or taste it or anything. I took it out and I'm just gonna leave it on top of the stove, and I'm gonna come back in a little bit and check on it. It's been a little while since I took the banana bread out, so I'm just going to cut it and see how it is on the inside. And then a little trick is to run the knife along the edge. It shouldn't stick, but just in case. Pull the slice out with a spatula, it makes it way easier and you don't break the bread. As you can see, it did not stick to the pan, so that's really good, and it looks so delicious. And then the bread came out perfectly. Always do a taste test. It's so good. It's cooked in the middle. It's nice and moist, but once I store it in a Tupperware and put it in the fridge, it actually ends up getting even moister. I like to put it in the fridge in a glass Tupperware because it lasts for way longer. It lasts for about a week that way, and then you can have it for breakfast or for a snack. And I like to add a vegan butter to it. I have the Earth Balance soy-free in the red tub, and that is my favorite butter. It has an amazing taste and it tastes like the real thing to me. I hope you guys like this recipe, and if you try it and have any questions, please just put them in the comments below and I would be happy to help out. And please like and subscribe and let me know if there's anything you guys would like to see.